Okay, my last question. So the Belt and Road Initiative has only been initiated for 4 years, about 4 years. And tourism development along the Belt and Road has just started. So what do you see the development potential of tourism in the future? What are the opportunities and challenges for the tourism industry?
Well, I think the potential is unlimited because one of the things we know as people have greater disposable incomes, the first two things they do is one, buy a car, and secondly is travel. And you see this well demonstrated in China over the last years. So people have this innate curiosity, they want to travel. And as I said, to travel, you need these three components. You need something there to attract you, you need to get access, and you need the amenities when you're there. Now, where the difficulty comes is this. I've always regarded tourism as a growth point. If you can develop a tourism destination, I don't want to use the word product, a destination, then what happens, if it becomes successful, then it begins to grow because other investors are attracted in because of the profit opportunities, first of all, but secondly, because there's existing expertise. So you have staff there you can employ. You have management expertise. So I think that one of the things that has to be developed in any of the countries, the BRI countries, is firstly a policy, if you like, a philosophy from government of what it wants to develop. So for example, in some countries they say, no gaming. Whereas if you looked at Macau, the gaming centre of the world. In some African countries, they allow gaming, but not for local people. So that might be an issue. It might be a religious issue. It might be a locational issue. It might be a land utilization issue. So when you look at development then, one of the things you have to do, I think, is to give a clear signal, we want to develop tourism. If you can do that, then there's an old rule, which doesn't apply in China, I have to say, but there's an old rule, and that is, the government shouldn't do anything the private sector is willing and able to do. If you want to look at the examples of this, if you look at airlines throughout the world, most state-owned airlines run in deficit, and they're subsidized by the taxpayer. Most private airlines, they either make profit or they go out of business. If you look at the history of Chinese hotel development, most locally owned Chinese hotels until recently were very unprofitable. Others weren't because they were driven by the private market. So whatever your views are, then I think there needs to be a very clear policy statement. There needs to be what we call enabling support from government. So it might be at some stage, although you've got the infrastructure, it still might be you need to offer investment incentives to bring people in. You might need to offer incentives, for example, on imports for developing hotels and all the rest of it. Certainly one of the big issues facing developed and developing countries now is training. So all these things together then are potentially limiting factors, but they're also opportunities. So you can say we have a positive view of tourism. This is the type of tourism we want. This is the type of tourism we don't want. And we are going to support development in this. And then, of course, you go into the whole secondary policy issues of where do you want to make development. So it doesn't have to be in Karachi or Lahore or Rawalpindi. It could be up in the Gilgit areas. These are local important decisions, but politics and tourism are never far away. Think about it. Much of the investment is foreign. Therefore, I can't go and invest in a country. I need permission of government. I might need permission of the state bank. I can't say to my family, hey, come, I'll give you jobs. I'm going to need work permits. So if you like then, one thing maybe we've not recognized as much as we should, government has a very fundamental role to play in not only tourism, but other forms of development. Only government can decide, for example, tomorrow, no visas. Or we're going to withdraw visas from this country or not from that country. So there is tremendous opportunity, but you've got to create an enabling environment which enables tourism to grow. And because of the sheer cost of that, and because of the need for expertise, then very often you have to do it in conjunction with local and foreign partners. And very often you leave the private sector to it, because government has so much demand on its own resources. Why would it want to build a hotel? Why would it want to run a hotel? Doesn't make any sense.
Thank you. And Professor Han, what is your view on this?
Professor Dr. Carson has just briefly have shed light on the different opportunities. For me, I think that it will just come to the grassroots, to the local labors, and even to the individual. It will contribute to the well-being of individual people. For example, if there is a fast train between Pakistan and China, so it will help the local entrepreneurs to come to China and buy what they would like, and just to send them to Pakistan. Because always Pakistani people come to China and get the material, then they get so much time. But to this China-Pakistan economic corridor and to this fast train, things like that, so it will be very easy for the local people, for the local entrepreneurs to easily access to China and then to supply those materials. Even they have now getting another opportunity in the just Gwadar port. They will buy it from China and get to Pakistan, and then will send it to somewhere else. And when the infrastructure develop, so the investor just attract to that place by themselves. Just as I mentioned earlier, that now different companies, even the round about 35 Chinese companies have signed hundreds of agreements with the Pakistani partners. And similarly, there is also a signal from UK and different France and even different countries to Pakistan to invest in Pakistan. But for me, the development is that, the opportunity is that which help the local people, a common person. And what I think that BRB will help a common person to have better well-being. That might be especially material well-being, and maybe he will socially connect to the rest of the world. So social well-being. So this means that BRI it is a mix of benefits, but with the passage of time, it will show its face, and gradually people will feel that how it is contributing to their well-being.
Thank you very much.